You will not be able to stay home, brother.
And now for something completely different.
And welcome to the Kings of Sport, the program changing the game one show at a time, a.k.a. the world's most dangerous sports show, a.k.a. iTunes' longest-running weekly episodic program produced and hosted by two or more African-Americans who are not affiliated with a major network. Welcome to the final edition of the KOS-Pod for 2025, an episode we like to call Pour One Out for Mahomies. And this week we'll be talking about the best and worst of sports in 2025, covering the NBA, the NFL, the W, college football, baseball, pro wrestling, whole bunch of stuff, man. So we're not going to waste any time. We want to send a shout out to everybody that's joining us live here on Monday night on the Nefarious Media Network YouTube channel. I, of course, am one of your hosts, the Godfather named Milton. Over 10 years in the game. Ain't a damn thing changed. I'm still your favorite podcaster's favorite podcaster, and I'm joined by the Kings. First up, the Mayor Pro Tem of Los Angeles, California. Some people call this man Moderna Chris. Some people call this man Mimosa Chris. He is the man that has engineered the trade to bring Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. The man that has engineered the trade to bring Kelsey Plum to the LA Sparks. The man that cooked the books and worked the numbers to get Ohtani on the Dodgers. But maybe more important than that, folks, he is a top-ranked Substack author. Y'all give it up for my co-host, my brother, and my friend, hailing from Los Angeles, California, the good Professor Chris Ely. Can we rock? What's up, Doc? Is Ray sipping on that eggnog already? Is Ray?
All right, I hear you now.
I was like, is Ray sipping on the eggnog or is you sipping on the eggnog, Doc?
I don't know who it is, man. All I know is when you got on, I couldn't hear you. So I was like, okay, let me just think fast and try to log in again. I'll probably just have to go to the bedroom. Hopefully that will won't give me the issues that this one is giving me.
It's all good, brother. How you doing this week, man?
I'm doing fine, chilling. Um, yeah, just chilling. Just trying to get ready for this flight, make sure I'm, good and relaxed and just don't eat anything crazy that's going to give me bubble guts on the airplane.
Blue, blue.
Yeah. Like I'm like I'm at the age where you got to worry about that kind of thing now. Like when I was a youngster, I didn't. That was never an issue, But now that you're older, it's like you got to be comfortable,
You got to stay away from that beef stroganoff, cuz.
Yeah.
Stay away from that strogie.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm having fruit today.
Okay. Yeah, you got to get your body right.
Yeah, I ain't even chancing it. Yeah.
Well, somebody who I know will not be ordering the beef stroganoff on the plane, whether it's JetBlue, Soul Plane, Spirit Airlines, whatever airlines he's flying during these holidays, he is not going to have the beef stroganoff. Y'all give it up for our favorite Regro, the super producer himself, the man so many people compare to Caitlin Clark. That's why he is the one they call Caitlin Dark. Y'all give it up for Two-Way Ray Williams.
What's going on, good brothers? Always a pleasure to be amongst the kings and good people out there in the various media. Getting close to my holiday break, so just counting down. Now we got one more day, so just counting down the hours.
Okay. Then you can hop on that Soul Plane, Ray, and go to wherever you need to go.
Indeed.
Have you seen Soul Plane, Ray? I think that's the question the audience is asking right now.
I have seen Soul Plane. Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, now that would be it would be a travesty if I hadn't seen that, because they play it on BET like every hour.
Yeah. I had to see that because I have a friend who was in it. He didn't have a big role in it, but
I was say, is it Godfrey?
No, it's not Godfrey. Although he's friends with Godfrey. It's Breon Ansley. He's a bodybuilder now. And he was in it. So I was, supporting a homie. But
who'd he play in Soul Plane?
Huh?
Who'd he play?
I don't even remember. I'd have to ask him. His part could have even gotten cut. I'm not sure. Because that's how we do. Because I was in Boys in the Hood. That's and I was in White Man Can't Jump. And in Boys in the Hood, I actually said something, and it got cut. And then, but they paid me, and I bought some rollerblades with my paycheck, and
rollerblading in the hood.
Yeah, and then because that was hot, and that's an LA thing, It wasn't just that's what people did in LA, and then when I was in White Man Can't Jump, I want to say I got a bike with that money.
Okay.
And then
because they weren't scenes in White Man Can't Jump.
White Man Can't Jump, I didn't say anything. So if they did cut my scene, it wasn't going to matter. And then the Boys in the Hood, I said one quick thing, but it was something where I would have at least been noticed.
It's like, Ricky, the other way, Ricky.
Yeah. So it was something like that. Yeah, it was something because the guy that plays young Trey was my childhood homeboy. We went to elementary school together. Desi Arnaz Jr. He
Rick Ricardo's son.
That's his dad named him Desi Arnaz. I forget. Desi Arnaz Hines, I believe, is his name.
But he's not related to that Desi.
No. That was just his dad. I think it was his dad that named him that, and I think
dad was a big fan.
Yeah, and I think they just knew he was going to be an actor and named him that because he's in a few things. He's the guy pouring the Kool-Aid and House Party as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So he the last time I saw him, I want to say was in 2010, maybe.
Okay.
He wasn't really doing that much acting anymore. He might have even had like kids and stuff. I don't remember. I think I'm friends with him on Facebook. I might holler at him. But yeah.
So what Chris didn't tell you, Ray, was also I'm looking at the YouTube feed right now. Like, is it supposed to look like that?
I think
I think it's got us in horizontal instead of landscape.
It's got us in both.
It's got us in both. Is there a way to just make it landscape? Or is it too late?
Doesn't mean that now.
I'm just looking. I had flipped to it just to make sure everything was coming across on the YouTube. And it was like, this doesn't look right. But really Chris got some valuable advice on the set of White Man Can't Jump after his scene was cut, because he was at craft services and he was a little, he was feeling down about himself. And then Rosie Perez walked up and was like, look here, Chris, sometimes when you lose, you really win. Sometimes when you win, you really lose. And when you tie, you actually win or lose, Chris. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. Which I did. Yeah, I didn't get to meet Rosie Perez. I wish I did.
Rosie Perez, yo.
Yeah. I met Wesley Snipes. He was the only star from the movie that I met. I didn't meet anybody else.
Was he cool?
He was cool. Yeah, he was all right. Yeah, he was him and the other guy, and I know him from Knoxville too. I'm blanking on his name. Silk Cozart. Silk Cozart is his name. He's like a actor. He's in a bunch of little small stuff, but I know him.
Okay.
I know him from LA and in Knoxville. I didn't know when I moved to Knoxville, I didn't know he was from Knoxville. Because I met him in LA when I did Boys in the Hood as a youngster. Yeah.
You didn't hang out with Kadeem Hardison on the set?
No, I don't think I saw him on the set. Now I did see Kadeem Hardison at a Clippers game. But
is he a Clippers fan?
He's a huge Clippers fan. Him, Frankie Muniz, Billy Crystal, Penny Marshall. She was a Lakers fan, but she would also go to Clippers games too.
You might as well. Yeah, the same.
Yeah. I root for the Clippers. Only time I don't root for them is when they're playing the Lakers. But they just always find creative ways to lose. And if you're a Clippers fan, they find ways to like get your hot hopes all the way up and then bring them all the way down. I don't understand. Like, if you're a diehard Clippers fan, I don't know how you take that shit, man. I really don't. Like, I could understand during the losing years and they're just perennial losers and you're like, okay, these dudes are losers, but I still like them. But when they almost get close to like doing something and then lose, that's like another thing, like that year that they went 3-1 on who was it? The Warriors. And then the Warriors just came back and mollywopped them. And they did that a couple times too. But they said that Chris Paul is a horrible leader. So I don't know, man.
Well,
that's what they say.
Speaking of horrible leaders, I think that's a segue, Chris, because this is our year-end show. We're talking about the best and worst in sports in 2025. So let's stay on the hardwood and talk about a very terrible leader who shouldn't be in his position. But we ain't going to say too much about that because we're not trying to get taken off the air, even if we are in vertical and not horizontal. But we talking about Cash Patel Records, Ray, taking over for the 99 and 2000s. One of the biggest stories of the year in sports, Chris. And it didn't just affect the NBA. It affected all sports. It's just kind of the proliferation of gambling. And some of these gambling companies getting into bed with these sports leagues, and we're seeing the scandals and the fallout. Of course, we had the big NBA scandal, which involved Chauncey Billups. which involved Scary Terry Rozier. And then we saw, like in baseball, Major League Baseball, a couple players get popped for gambling as well. So overall, like, you can speak to the NBA of it all, Chris, but just kind of generally, what have you made of kind of the way gambling and sports have become so intertwined over the past year?
Yeah, it's crazy because in the beginning, like I want to say circa 2013, maybe 14, when I start seeing like all these like gambling sites start to like germinate, like really to the point that it is right now. I always was like, okay, if we start getting sponsors, I'm not really sure if I'd feel ethically right, like doing a DraftKings or any of that stuff, just because, you know, there's when something becomes this big, this is the likelihood of how things are going to move, you know? NBA, like, and the thing with rich people, the people that are obsessed with money, the people that love money, there's never enough money, you know? You just, the world is not enough, you know? You always have to get more. You always have to, like, you know, that's not gonna, you know, you always have to get that money appetite quenched, you know? And I think that's just what happens with these NBA players, is like their lifestyles are so lavish and everyone's keeping up with the Joneses. And this, with what's happened in sports with these athletes, is just a natural progression of things. Like, imagine MLB with Pete Rose in the 80s. If this existed back then, there would be way more Pete Roses, you know? Yeah.
And it's crazy, Chris, because I feel like, yes, like I think a big part of it, when you look from the player standpoint, is that greed. But I also think there's an aspect of particularly younger players. You know, I'm not talking about somebody like a Chauncey Billups, but particularly when you talk about these younger players who kind of get into a situation without having all the information.
Right, yeah.
And you are on the hook to various entities, whether it be bookies, whether it be, you know, La Cosa Nostra, in some cases.
Yeah, for real stuff, man, yeah.
And so now it's like you're stuck in a position where you have to, you know, shave points. So you have to give insider information because you've got people that can do things to you or do things to your family. And so, like, it is weird because you mentioned baseball, and baseball was so strident about, you know, gambling and Pete Rose and going all the way back to, you know, shoeless Joe Jackson. Say it ain't so, Joe. Say it ain't so. But now you got the NFL, you got the NBA, you got Major League Baseball, you got UFC, you got hockey. All of these entities are firmly in bed with DraftKings, with BetMGM, with all these gambling companies. And it's a situation, Chris, where I think, like, you know, I'm somebody that gambles, you know, full disclosure, not all the time.
Yeah, right,
every now and then I'll throw some money down, do a parlay.
Yeah, my wife does too. Yeah, she gambles with friendly amounts, but she's a gambler. I don't gamble because my uncle was, you know, he divorced my aunt because of gambling, and you know, he told me not to gamble, so I just never did.
Well, that's my big advice to anybody that is gambling is A, play within your means, but then B, go for the best bang for your buck. So what I'll do, Chris, I'll put down, you know, $5 here, $3 here, $10 here on parlays that have like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 legs on
right,
it.
Yeah.
And so, like, if it hits, you know, that's a pretty nice return on investment. But if not, I just lost my coffee money for the day. You know what I mean?
And gambling is such a big part of Americana, just our society. And I'm not even talking about like the gambling, we're playing poker or cards or the lottery and stuff like that. I'm just talking about with life in general. Like, if you are on trial for something, if you plead not guilty, you risk, if you're guilty, getting a crazy ass sentence, where if you plead with the prosecution and stuff, your sentence is a lot lighter, and you have to think, well, I'm innocent and didn't do this, but it's just a weird situation. Even like with the stock market. Stock market is like what they call skilled gambling, I guess, where it's like you are looking at markets and you're trying to make ethical moves while you're collecting a ton of money. But I mean, that's what society is, and I'm gonna get you, sucker. Janet Dubois said to Kadeem Hardison and David Wade, take the windows or the stairs.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just. But I mean, this is how life is, and it just spills over into this kind of thing. And I really don't like I know gambling is a hobby, it's just the people that got problems with it and stuff, but it's also kind of a double-edged sword, because it's like, you're a gambler, but when you go to court, you got to gamble, about like whether, how you should plead, whether you should go to AA or spend 3 months in jail, that kind of shit. So,
and like you said, it's a part of the American fabric. All the way back to folks running numbers. Back in Harlem during the Renaissance, man.
Yeah, running numbers. Yeah,
always been a part of the fabric of America. But I think, Ray, when we're particularly talking about sports, there is going to have to be a come to Jesus moment when it comes to gambling with professional sports. And I also think, particularly from the NBA or the NFL, like maybe a way to stop some of this. You're not going to stop all of this because people make decisions individually, but maybe a way to stop some of this, Ray, is when these collective bargaining agreements come up, having provision in there, like if the league makes X amount of dollars based off of gambling, then this is what is shared with the players because of gambling. Because I think it is greed, but it's also, if there is such a thing, Chris, as justified greed. And when you see, like, the league is making so much money from these partnerships, but I can't make a bet or two here or there. That's not
right.
Fair,
yeah, yeah, and that's what the brain naturally does. It's like you rationalize why the wrong thing you're doing is not that bad, and the NBA does feed into that culture because they do get a huge bag off of it. And I guess the question for that is just how the NBA, the MLB, football, NFL, how are you going to move as a union to kind of rectify this? Because that's what your union is there for. You're not supposed to do, you're not supposed to they like rationalize it and do the illegal shit. You're supposed to like come together with your union rep and be like, yo, this is an issue for us. And if enough people make noise about it, the NBA is going to have to listen. That's why unions exist. So you don't have to do this kind of fuckery.
Ray, two things. Number one, not related to the topic at hand. We got any Christmas backgrounds? Because when I'm looking at the horizontal view, it's a lot of negative space. So I want some Christmassy in the background, Ray. Maybe some snow or some trees or something. Some tinsel or some garland, Ray. Maybe a gingerbread house or two. I said, nah, I'm not feeling that. Not feeling that. What else you got? Okay, that's not bad. We'll come back to that. Now let me see how it looks on the vertical horizon. That's a little busy. What else you got? Okay. Let me see how that looks.
That's cool.
Okay, I like that. We'll stay with this.
Stick with that? All right.
Yeah, we'll stick with this. But the other thing, Ray, is, I want to get your opinion because I feel like a lot has been focused on the NBA with this. even to the point where I think a week or two after Cash Patel gave his big promo about, how we're bringing these people to justice, like 2 or 3 Major League Baseball players got popped and nobody blinked an eye. And then Ray, about the UFC and their gambling partnerships. And then the big thing that I think nobody really wants to talk about, because it is the biggest sport on the planet from a financial standpoint, it's like, you can't tell me that some of this stuff isn't going on with the NFL. There's way too much money to be going on for everybody to be playing above board. So what is your thoughts on the way gambling is kind of not even infiltrated, Ray? Because infiltration would imply that it was something that these leagues didn't want. It's not infiltration. It's a cohabitation, Ray.
Yeah. I think that gambling's always gambling's always been involved within the sport, whether it was legal or not. But when it was illegal, it was kind of like we all know about it. It was kind of like an open secret, but we're not going to like all indulge in it. But like you mentioned, Nate, the leagues weren't trying to benefit off it because it felt as though, hey, it's going to delegitimize the actual like genuineness of the sport if we get involved with all these things. And so
people forget, Ray, not to cut you off, but people forget one of the biggest scandals in the last 25, 30 years for the association was the gambling ref.
Tim
Donaghy?
Yeah, Tim Donaghy.
Yeah.
And before that, it was like Michael Jordan's dad. And then like Charles Barkley's been into some not gambling legal stuff, but he's been in some gambling shit that's made headlines,
Yeah.
And even with like college sports, there were a couple instances of college players getting involved with it.
And that's go ahead.
No, I was just going. Yeah, go, Chris.
I know high school players from when I was in high school were getting in point shaving scandals too,
Yeah.
Yeah, so but now I think that it's been made so prevalent. It kind of reminds me because and the thing that some people don't talk about is not only is it becoming more, because now it's becoming ubiquitous and it's becoming to a point where, like you mentioned, Chris or Nate, it's hard for players not to get involved if now you're putting sports books in the stadiums. And, not too long ago, we were talking about your Falcons and Calvin Ridley getting caught up in. It was like I was even betting on myself. And
I mean, that's the thing. I don't think it's I see what you're saying, Ray. I don't think it's that hard not to do it, but if you have an inclination for that kind of thing, I could see the temptation being there to do it, and the NBA is profiting. Like, they're making crazy money off of it, right? But again, that just speaks to what you as a collective should do, Like, is this an issue big enough for other NBA players, NFL players to get on? This isn't wrestling, y'all, those fools are modern day puppets. This is professional sports where you have organized yourselves in such a way to where you got a union to now where people, even with the NFL, after all the stuff with the concussions, like people are now forcing the NFL to you got to take care of us when we're done with this place, So yeah. So it's like
my boy thought he was gonna get an Oscar for that one, Chris.
He didn't get the nomination, and that led to Jada saying her stuff, and then that led to Chris Rock doing his joke at the Academy Awards
if they would have just gave Will Smith the Oscar for that damn concussion movie, none of that would have happened.
Yeah. For that movie, I don't know.
Tell the
Jada might
truth.
got set that up for something else or whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
But I think, Chris, like, for instance, Monday Night Football is airing right now as we are broadcasting, and every commercial break, I'm not even exaggerating, Ray, every single commercial break, you are going to see a commercial for DraftKings, for ESPN Bet, for BetMGM, The Crown is Yours, for like, I don't even know who Drewski and Bill Belichick advertised for, which is a sentence I didn't think I'd say in 2025, Ray. But what are we gonna pick today, Drewski? Well, Bill.
Yeah.
It's something to Chris's point where I think if you are the players, you have to be smart. If you are inclined to bet, or if you see, because here's the thing, people do this on the stock market, people do this in all venues where money is transferred. Like, if you feel like you know some things, don't bet yourself. Don't be stupid. If you go and do wrong the right way, Ray, and use proxies and intermediaries. But the bigger thing, to Chris's point, is these unions do have power, particularly the baseball union. And if you feel like your players are not getting a fair share of the windfall that's being brought in from these gambling companies, then it's up to these union heads to be like, hey, when we come to the table next, this is something that we have to discuss and we have to break bread on, because this is a $1 billion industry and the players aren't seeing anything from it.
I think it's, go ahead, Ray, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
No, I think it's just that you're gonna have to negotiate with other players. You know, you can't expect the owners, as ethical as they might try to be or might pretend to be, they're still after the bag. That's what they are looking for. And if they're gonna get the money by pretty much any means necessary, or almost all means necessary. The thing with like competitive athletics, which differentiates it from, like, combat sports, is that there is still like ethical things that people expect from the NBA, the NFL, MLB. Your athletes can't just be, you can only have one Dennis Rodman and one Allen Iverson at a time in the NBA. All the players can't be that, because then it'd be a problem. So,
can't have a league full of Ja Morants, Chris.
Right. Yeah. So exactly. What the league likes is, okay, this is our bad boy over here. But they don't want like the whole league turning into that, they want, because they still want marketability, it's almost like the boy band shit, because that's how the boy bands operate. You always have to have the pretty young one. You always have to have the funny, goofy one. You always have to have the shy, chubby one. Okay. You always have to have the tough guy, your Donnie Wahlbergs or whoever. You always have to have the one with the problems, sometimes the alcoholic, sometimes of this, sometimes of that, to appeal to the sensibilities of young girls, like the idea is to have a person where I can see myself dating this guy, or I aspire to date a guy like that. NBA is the same kind of way. You want people, the people watching the NBA, you want them to emulate the future players. You want them to see, like, okay, my game is like Iverson. Oh, I could be like a Kobe, or I could be, that's how you want them to come up. And then with that, though, comes the attitudes that these people think they're going to have to market themselves to be like, and that goes in the NBA. And the NBA, the bigger the star you are, the more shit you could get away with. It's just that simple. Allen Iverson could do no wrong until he could do some wrong, until his waning days when he got to Denver and, he wasn't Allen Iverson anymore. He was, just, the vet guy, and that's just sports in general, man. As long as you're producing, they're going to put up with your shit. This gambling stuff, I do imagine, like, if it was somebody that was like an active player that's like making crazy money for the NBA, like a Giannis or someone like that, how the NBA would have, because Chauncey Billups is an easy guy to just disregard and be like, we could fuck this guy. He's not making us money anymore. So, but like, I do imagine, like, I do think about, like, what if you were active, like a star in doing this, like you were a stara, like if you were doing that, how would they treat you,
Well, two things. Number one, I think that the NBA certainly would treat it differently, but it's this whole thing with the NBA gambling scandal isn't really on the NBA. It's on Cash Patel. Cash Patel, taking over for the 99 and 2000. And I think that they don't care. They wouldn't care. They just would be like, "Hey, we got him. We got the bigger fish." And he'd probably say bigger with the different letters starting out that word.
But I think even Cash Patel, I see what you're saying, but I think even with a Cash Patel, even if it's a bigger fish, honestly, the amount of players that the Trump organization, like the player that they wouldn't go after, A, the White Stars, but then B, like LeBron. Like, I think LeBron. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Maybe Steph, like that's it. Yeah. But like Anthony Edwards. Oh, you going to jail, Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like there are guys in the NBA that Donald Trump would they might want you to think Donald Trump isn't doing shit to LeBron James. I don't give a fuck if LeBron James is almost like Donald Trump, what he said where he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. LeBron James, maybe not now, but for a long time, he was that status. That's why a lot of people hated him, because LeBron James could just snap his fingers and get shit he wanted done in the NBA done, Not everybody has that kind of problem, like, or power like a LeBron James or a Kobe Bryant or a Michael Jordan with some of this shit. Like, Michael Jordan wasn't free of scandals when he was in the NBA, but he's Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant, I will never forget, he got into the scandal with the girl. Every one of his sponsors dropped him, except for Nike. They just signed him, and the Nike CEO was like, let's see how this plays out. And they completely remarketed him. They kind of had him embrace his edge a little bit more. The negotiation he worked out with the girl did absolve him from any kind of admission of guilt or anything like that. They just were like, hey, wrong place, wrong time. Let's make this go away. And LeBron and Kobe Bryant, not only was he rich enough to do that, he was like a good enough basketball player where people were willing to accept that, and people used to say, well, if this was the Me Too era, this wouldn't have happened to Kobe Bryant. He would have been different. No, if this was a Me Too era, the exact same shit would have happened because he's Kobe Bryant. If he was playing like this during the Me Too era, the same situation would have played out. Maybe he would have been, maybe more people would still hate him. But I mean, when you're that level of a, not just a star, but a superstar, the rules are different for you. It just is what it is.
So speaking of being is what it is, Ray Williams, I would label this next topic a cautionary tale. A cautionary tale. Because now we're going to talk about one of the bigger stories of 2025, which happened recently, and that was Sharon Moore, former head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, threw away a pot of gold for a glass of milk, brother.
Yeah. Oh God, I see what you did there. That's almost like a triple entendre right there, man.
Hey, I do what I do, Chris. I do what I do, son.
It was not
Sharon
magically
Moore
delicious.
dismissed from the Michigan Wolverines for conduct unbecoming of a head coach, having an affair with his staffer, stalking his staffer, and just really not only setting the Michigan program back a step, but and you never want one guy to be the example for all the guys, Chris. But in a league that not in a league, but in a sport that has seen very few high-profile African-American coaches at powerhouse universities, for that to go down, that sets back the cause, unfortunately, for the advancement of other African-American coaches at some of these universities.
Yeah, it sucks. And that's how the university system works. It's like especially if you're a black guy in any department, doesn't matter if it's athletics. My department is political science at all the schools I work at. You want to do a good job to where they'll hire more of us, right? Because whether they admit it or not, this is how subconsciously people think about minorities. They think about, oh, we already hired this person. We don't want, we can't hire another one of them. They might not necessarily even be like card carrying members of the Klan or the skinheads. They just might be,
or Mike Love from the Beach Boys, as we learned.
Mike Love from the Beach Boys. Don't get me started on that. But yeah, they just might have these little microaggressions and these little things that like they just, that are subconscious. That's subconscious, and that they don't really even think about that much, but it bubbles to the surface when one of us makes these kind of mistakes. It shouldn't be like this, like I'm like, people are working hard to get universities to stop doing this, especially with the amount of white guys that screw up at that level. And no other white guys get deemed that, but it happens with black professors, black coaches all the time. With that said, though, if I'm looking at this man in an isolated incident, you can't give these people a reason, man. You just can't do that shit. Because the minute you do that, they're gonna use that reason. They're gonna be like, hey, this, and what can you as part of the culture say to defend this kind of fuckery?
You can't, and that's the thing, Chris. That's what makes this so crazy, and that's why this is, to me, one of the worst stories of 2025. Is because, I'm pro black head coach all day, but when you do something as reckless, as stupid, as harmful as Sharon Moore, where not only are you having this affair outside of your marriage, which is, whatever, Chris, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's your marriage business. Yeah.
Right.
And
but when you bring it to your workplace and you, like I said, you stalking this woman, you going up in her house, man, and you are supposed to be the head coach of this football team. Not just any football team, Ray. The Michigan Wolverines, 2 years removed from a national championship. The Michigan Wolverines would have all these Heisman winners, have all these Hall of Fame coaches. The Michigan Wolverines, who is in any given year a top 5, top 10 program to be a head coach of, not to mention the millions and millions of dollars that were on the table for Sharon Moore. To throw all of that away is, like I said, man, it's reckless and it's stupid, and it's something that we can't defend. Like, I'd love to be up here saying the university did them wrong, Chris, and this was, saying they was out to get the brother. I'd love to be able to sit up here and say this on this episode. But no, Sharon Moore, this was you, dog. This was you.
Yeah. And that's the thing with, there's just certain things I'm not gonna defend. I don't care how black you are or what, if I'm a logical person by nature, OJ Simpson, I defended him for as long as I could, but I was also a kid. Yeah, but I was also a kid, it's like one thing, the problem with these people is they always repeat their acts. They don't ever stop at that one thing. And that's how they're a problem, is that they always do something else, like OJ Simpson just couldn't get away with, the stuff that happened. He had to go and bust in some guy's hotel room in Vegas and, you taking my shit and selling it, that kind of thing. It's like
that is like one of the funniest Cat Williams jokes ever. He's like, "You got arrested for stealing pictures of you."
Yeah, because the people are after you, man. You're a target, man. Why the hell would you? Why would you not be on your best behavior?
Yes.
Why would you be doing that shit? But the thing is, these people can't help it. They have to do some. It's like a magnet. They're attracted to this kind of bullshit. They're
like and I use this example from time to time when I talk about people and human behavior, Chris. It's like Ricky Bobby's father in Talladega Nights, where when things get too good, when situations get too comfortable and things are going right, you have certain people that is just in their makeup, just in their DNA, just in their history, where it's like, it's too good right now. I got to create some action. I need to shake some things up. And 9 times out of 10, they shake things up for the worse.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just the thing. Like, these people are attracted to chaos. Like, if I'm R. Kelly, if you're a logical person, when you get away with something like that the first time, it's like, okay, let me not do that again. But a part of this is a disease these people have, like it's just, that this is just some weird, unfortunate wiring that they have, especially for like child molesters, which is a completely different case. But a stalker, that is a wiring thing, not everybody does that. The most people, when I had a breakup, and I've had a couple of them, I get you're supposed to be sad. Yeah, well, come on. You're supposed to be sad. You're supposed to go through the emotions. You're supposed to go through the like heartbreak, and you're supposed to feel it. You might write an angry email or whatever, but you move on from it, right? It's like, okay, we don't love each other anymore, and that's what it is. Or you don't love me. I don't want to be with somebody that doesn't love me. That was always my thing, is like, once you realize that somebody doesn't love you anymore, why are you trying to still be with them? Because at that point, it's not even about a relationship. It's about you wanting power over that person.
Correct.
You thinking that you own this person. How dare you date this other guy? I'm this rich motherfucker, and you belong with me. You know, I mean, it's like entitlement. You know.
And with the Sharon Moore situation, there already was a power dynamic in that she was part of the assistant staff, you know, for the school. And so, like, you know, the reporting that's come out about this, Ray, it's just, you are in a precarious position in the first place, my guy, in that you are not the people that the school chose. You are not the people that the alumni chose. You're not the people that the fans chose. You are the person that Jim Harbaugh chose on his way out.
Yeah.
He was like, make sure my guy is the head coach. And the school did that because Jim Harbaugh just won him a chip and brought all this money into the university. But your position, and I don't want to go as far as to say as it wasn't earned, Ray, because I really don't know how good or bad of a coach Sharon Moore was, but it wasn't something where he had like put the time in all these universities and grinded his way up to Michigan. He was the assistant coach. He was a good coordinator by all accounts and was given this position by Jim Harbaugh on the way out, Ray. But it's also like your team is not good enough to make you scandal proof, my boy.
Right.
Like Michigan's had a solid season, Ray, but they're not in the playoffs. You know, they didn't beat Ohio State this year. And so when you've seen all this stuff come out about Sharon Moore, this cautionary tale for you and others, Ray Williams, what has been your thoughts, brother?
I think we mentioned it on the NWA podcast in reference to Tessa Blanchard. The milk's gone bad, brother. And for those who I think I've been seeing like comments on social media as well. This ain't the fight for those that are trying to come to the defense that are part of the Black community. This ain't our fight. The sisters, this ain't your fight because his wife is of the dairy persuasion of the. So this ain't our fight. We ain't got to worry about he done cheated on his Nubian queen. No, we didn't.
But the thing is like. When you're Black, though, it's almost like there is this community like thing with us where we are protective of our own,
that's true.
Almost in unhealthy ways, though. You know,
especially
like
in spaces that are not for us, Chris.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's like because what we do as human beings, and this is just human nature, we look at that person and we're like, this could be us, you know. I could see myself being that. I could see myself getting blamed for something I didn't do, you know.
Yeah.
That's the reality of these situations, right? That's why anytime I look at these things, I always have to look at the complete lens of them, like with the Gable Stevenson stuff back in the day. I like everyone was like, you know, because the wrestling community is going to be what it is. I had to actually look at the case to say, yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on here. I don't know if he's this monster that everyone's like rushing to say he is, you know, and I'm not saying he isn't. I'm just saying that there are layers to this shit. So there's a natural inclination to do that. But when the evidence is so fucking obvious, like, what else are you supposed to do? Like, how could anybody look at that picture of Rihanna after what Chris Brown admitted that he did to her and then try to blame Rihanna for any of it, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Like this is how some people in the community move, you know? And it wasn't just the men I saw her saying this stupid shit. It was women, girls that have crushes on Chris Brown saying this nonsense.
Yeah. And Ray, you don't know this about me, Ray, but I've been on these streets, man. I've been on the front lines defending these black coaches over the years, cuz.
Right.
I was there, Ray, when Notre Dame hired Tyrone Willingham.
Oh, yeah.
For the season and a half when I was a Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan. And I was in the trenches, Ray, in the Notre Dame chat rooms, on the Notre Dame message boards. And I was fighting for my life, Ray Williams, defending this man, Tyrone Willingham, who it turns out wasn't a terrible coach. He was just an average coach at a university that really wasn't set up for success. But I was on these streets fighting for Tyrone Willingham. I was fighting for Turner Gill, Chris, at Liberty University. I was on the streets fighting for Turner Gill. So I fought for black coaches. But Sharon Moore, I ain't got no part of that.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's like because I do think this is a good part of us too, is because we do have to. I think we are blessed with the ability that a lot of other races aren't afforded. You know, we can critically think about these things a little bit better than other folks. You know, like even in the wrestling business, where everybody was just like jumping on Ahmed Johnson for whatever reason, because him and Farouk got into a fight, or you know, something happened and Mark Henry hates him and D'Lo hates him, and you know, everybody hates the guy. And then when I actually talked to Ahmed Johnson and kind of looked at things from his lens, his point of view makes sense in if you're looking at it critically. If you look at the level of push Ahmed Johnson was getting in 1996, he was about the second or third biggest star in that company after Bret Hart. So when Vince McMahon is telling you, okay, we're going to put you in the Nation of Domination, it's not the most unfathomable or far-fetched thing for him to think, okay, I should be the leader of this group, you know? Even though Ron Simmons is a former world champion and a legend, Ahmed Johnson is the flavor of the month. That, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like it's not crazy thoughts. And with these coaches, it's we look at the stuff like what you were doing, Nate. You were looking at the surrounding, and you were like, okay, maybe it's not what the narrative is completely. Or like that, or like David Broom from The Real World, you know, that one season where all those white people would like talk about how standoffish he was and shit. It's like, if I lived with all you white folks, I'd be losing my mind too. Shit. Yeah.
And it's the thing, like, you know, again, going back to Ty Willingham, Ray, like I was on my own, brother. I was fighting for my life on them streets, man. In the Catholic chat rooms, brother. But it's like when you are, I think what Chris said, you know, not only is it critical thinking, but I think black folks tend to be pragmatic. And so we can kind of see all sides of a situation and realize when you are a black head coach, whether you're talking in the college ranks or even in the NFL, 9 times out of 10, you are not put in the best position to succeed. You're taking over, like Deion Sanders, as famous as Deion was. Where was the place he got his first major coaching job, right? It was Colorado, a team that was terrible for years. And so it's like we have to start out in some of these bad positions. And so that's what makes the Sharon Moore situation like, come on, dog. Like you were put in place at a top 5, top 10 school in the country and had the runway in front of you to build this thing and build your name and build your brand and then lead these young men, and you threw it away. And it's not the university's fault. It's not Jim Harbaugh's fault. It's your fault. It's not even the woman's fault. It's your fault, dog.
Yeah, and there are people that are like rooting for you to fail too. That's another thing. You know? Like if you look at like with Deion Sanders, like so many media talking heads were just wanting this guy to just be a complete bum and loser as a coach, and would cheer would cheer when he would lose. And it wouldn't be just like regular levels of cheering. It'd be like cheering like I hate this guy,
Yeah.
Or
And
so
look, we saw it with his son, and this might be a good place to pivot to the NFL, Chris, because we saw it with his son when his son slid down the draft board. Like there were some analysts, particularly like Mel Kiper Jr., who were like mad as hell that Shedeur was sliding. But then you had a lot of people like, oh, we knew he wasn't that good in the first place. Everybody just hyped him up. Like, nah. We all saw what we saw on the football field. Like this kid, he may not have been the best quarterback coming out of college, but he was a hell of a lot better than a lot of people that got picked in 2, 3, 4 rounds ahead of him.
Yeah, exactly. And but that's what the media does too, is like they change narratives, and everybody has 20/20 vision in hindsight. Well, I saw this the whole time, or I knew this. You didn't know shit, man. It just none of us really know. It's just things have to happen for us to be able to make judgments. Really that simple.
There is one thing I do know, Chris. This gonna be the saddest NFL postseason ever, Ray Williams, because we got to pour one out for Mahomies.
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes done for the season. ACL tear. Won't be back until the best projections I've heard, Ray, are like midway of next season, which basically means next season is kind of a wash year for the Kansas City Chiefs. So this part of their dynasty is over. Who knows if they'll get back to a second part of the dynasty like Tom Brady and the Patriots had. But that opens things up in the NFL this year, where you've got Ray's favorite quarterback, Josh Allen. Maybe this is finally his time, where you've got the Eagles trying to go back to back, where you've got a team like the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams, the Chris's Broncos, who have stepped up this year. The Pittsburgh Steelers with old man Aaron Rodgers. And on top of all that, Chris, Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers, who is like 2 years younger than me, is back in the NFL. So it's been a crazy season. What are your thoughts on the Mahomes injury and what we can look forward to going to the playoffs, Ray?
Well, it's kind of tragic that the injury happened at this time, but I think that it could be a blessing in disguise, because Kansas City was looking at their most vulnerable this year, and they didn't get out to a great start, and so I think it happened. It happened at the right time. I think it did happen at a time to where maybe we do need to kind of reset, get things together, and this gives the higher ups, the upper management, to actually put in the work in the off season and try to build the pieces and kind of put the pieces around so that whenever Patrick comes back, that the team will be stacked again. Like get some better receivers out there, and get like some decent, like you got some decent running backs. I believe Rashee Rice is out there for them as well. And so,
well, you have Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. I'd say you're probably your top two receivers. But then you got Brashard Smith at running back, who's a kid I kind of like. I think he played at SMU. But I hate to say this, Ray, because Isaiah Pacheco was like my favorite running back for like 2 years, because he's just a little small dude that just ran through a brick wall. But I think it caught up to him quick. Like Pacheco, he got to go. Like if I'm the Chiefs, I'm using this whole next year, even if Patrick comes back halfway through, man. I'm like, look, dog, we gonna take the year off. We gonna pick a running back. Like I think Jeremiah Love would be great in that Chiefs offense. We're gonna focus on the line. We're gonna get like a third receiver. So if I'm Kansas City next year, I'm going in with Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, and then a third receiver, like either a veteran or a rookie.
Right.
And then I hate to say it, Ray. I hate to say it. A couple changes I might make if I was Lamar Hunt or the Lamar Hunt family that run the Chiefs.
Right.
Travis Kelce, you got to go. You need to leave, Travis Kelce. I'm kicking Travis Kelce out because he not doing anything for like Chris Jones. I think Chris Jones is a hell of a defensive player, Chris. But I think you can get a lot of picks back for Chris Jones. And to me, the Chiefs should be building a team that is ready to compete in 2 years when Patrick is back to full strength, hopefully. And then the other thing, Chris and Ray, and I know the Kansas City Chiefs fans don't want to hear this, man. Andy Reid, dog. Andy Reid, you need to leave, brother. You need to leave, brother. Yes, Andy Reid needs to leave. Yeah. And I'm not saying Andy Reid's not a good coach, Chris. He's a great coach. Like, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's arguably, if not the best coach in the game right now, you know, he's in the top 2 or 3. But I think they need somebody because Andy Reid's getting up there. I think they need somebody a little bit younger, a little bit more offensive minded. Like, Andy's an offensive genius, but I think everything's got to change eventually. And I think Patrick Mahomes covered up a lot of the needs and the holes in his team because we saw how bad the Chiefs looked yesterday with Gardner Minshew out there and Chris Oliver out there. Like, Patrick covered up for a lot of that just by being a great player. So, like, to me, I'm like, Andy, we appreciate your service. You know, you can have a role forever with the organization. You could be the advisor, whatever. But we got to get somebody else in here to be the head coach. And we gonna set this team up for when Patrick gets back. Because that's a big loss for that team, Chris. But I think they can rebuild and reload for when he's healthy.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing too, is like when you have a team that historically hasn't really been a winning team, and then you become a winning team, what a lot of fans don't understand is you're not gonna win forever. You know what I'm saying? That's what being a Lakers fan has taught me. So I always appreciate the winning seasons, but I also realize because Jerry West said this a long time ago. You're not winning forever. You know, they're gonna be down years. They're gonna be years with injuries. Anything can happen. So the important thing is to be able to rebuild after that. Patrick Mahomes is young enough, and is athletic enough, and his game is going to allow for him to be in the league for a little while, you know? So, barring nothing catastrophic, I do like Ray said, it is a blessing in disguise. And I do hate couching bad things like that, injuries and stuff like that. But the better way to say it is it's a bad thing that could lead to a lot of good things, you know? Because, you know, that's just how life works. It's like if, you know, if my last relationship didn't fail, I wouldn't be with my current wife. You know, it's everything happens for a reason. You know, if I didn't get, if I didn't get a PhD or a master's degree, I would not be working right now. You know, I wasn't like when I was going to school, I was not going to school with the idea that I wouldn't be able to do factory jobs anymore or do deliveries and stuff that I used to do when I was younger. I thought I was always going to have that kind of shit to fall back on. And then when I got my the brain surgery and my balance went away, and it's like I made a good decision, because if I didn't do that stuff, I'd be on disability right now, you know? So it's like these are the kind of things that sports are about, and rebuilding is going to say something to your franchise. And like you said, Nate, they can have a second act. they are gonna have to get. I'm not gonna be as brazen as you and start naming people, but they are gonna have to move some pieces though, because that's just how those games work. Like even with with Kobe's Lakers, there's the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq. There's the Lakers with Kobe and Powell. You know, it's just how sports has to move.
And I was gonna say, Chris, I might walk back. Andy Reid needs to leave. What I would say, Andy Reid, you can stay, but you got to get yourself 2 young coordinators. Because I think when people like to joke on Eric Bieniemy because he failed as an assistant coach with Rays Commanders and he failed as an assistant coach at UCLA, but I think that was the perfect spot for him in Kansas City because he was allowed to hold players accountable. Because Andy Reid, he's a head coach, he's a leader of men, but Andy Reid's kind of like your grandpa, man. He don't really get mad at you, he has to. And I think a lot of those players, not Patrick Mahomes and probably not like people like Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, but a lot of those players who have won championships on this run came in at the back end and they didn't start with that grind. And I think Eric Bieniemy was like, and I always say, Ray, I look at coaching like I look at management and business. I think every business can benefit from having the players coach, but then also the foot in the ass coach. Because I think if you lean hard on one side or the other, then you're not going to get the best out of your people. So you need somebody that can stand and relate to the players, but you also need somebody that's going to hold everybody, including Patrick, accountable. And I think that's what Eric Bieniemy did. So I think Andy's got to get some better assistant coaches. If he wants, if this is Nate Milton's Kansas City Chiefs, you got an ultimatum, Andy. Get you some better assistant coaches, or you and Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce already out the door. I'd already packed his bag. Taylor coming to pick him up at 6:00. But Andy, if you want to stay, get you some new assistant coaches because I think the team does need like some fresh blood from a play calling perspective.
Yeah. And different players are going to respond differently to different coaches too, and to have that kind of yin and yang, I do think makes for a better dynamic for a team,
Look at that, Ray. I told you I'd be sticking up for these black coaches. Eric Bieniemy been terrible since he left the Chiefs, but I still believe in you, Eric Bieniemy.
Same here. They should have just made him head coach. That's another discussion.
Right. So, real quick, because I don't want to stay on the NFL too long because it's actively headed towards the postseason, so we can talk more about that next month. But what are some of your favorite stories or big stories from the NFL this year? Because for me, I mentioned him earlier, but I think just following, I've never listened to so many Browns radio shows and Browns podcasts in my life, Ray Williams, as I have this season following the way people talk about Shedeur Sanders. Because I think, and I think we said this during the draft, Ray, I feel like Shedeur Sanders to me was always like a high 3rd round draft pick. He wasn't the 1st or 2nd round, in my opinion, because he had things that he needed to work on. But he was nowhere near a 5th round draft pick, which is where the Cleveland Browns picked him. But I think Shedeur's looked pretty good in the 4 starts he's had so far. He had 1 bad start. He had 1 really good start against Tennessee. And then he had 2 average starts. And I think if I'm Cleveland, and we talked about this before the show, Ray, if I'm Cleveland, I don't take a quarterback this year in the draft. I wait until the following year when you got people like Arch Manning and Lenora Sellers coming out because I don't believe – I think Ty Simpson's all right, Dante Moore's all right, Mendoza's all right, but I don't believe any of those guys are going to be franchise quarterbacks with the Cleveland Browns because the Cleveland Browns are so dysfunctional. A quarterback – you could put Patrick Mahomes on the Cleveland Browns, right? And I think they'd make the playoffs, but they ain't winning no championships because there's a lot of holes in that roster. Maybe the head coach being one of those holes. So I think Shedeur playing as well as he has at times and the way he's handled the media and not, gotten into fights and stuff with the media, the way he's handled his teammates and shown leadership at a young age. I'm rooting for Shedeur, man. I don't know if Cleveland is going to be where he's at for a long time, but there's teams in the league that could use Shedeur. I think the Raiders made a mistake by not picking Shedeur and having him learn for a year under Geno. I think the Steelers made a mistake not picking Shador, because I think him learning from Aaron Rodgers could have been a good thing for him. So I'm rooting for Shador, Ray.
Well, I'm rooting for Shador as well. The only reason why I kind of think the opposite is going to happen when you're talking about the Browns committing to Shador is, well, one, Kevin Stefanski, we talked about the coach, who actually didn't want Shador. And then number two,
he wanted Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel's a nice guy, Ray. But Dylan Gabriel is shorter than me. And if you haven't noticed, I'm not almost on these streets.
No. Right. And that was going to be my second point, is that they had already drafted Dylan Gabriel. And so it'll be hard to see what comes up as far as the future, because they're still on the hook for the nasty man, a.k.a. Deshaun Watson. And we don't know what's going to be happening with him next season. So it'll be hard
to be on the roster until like mid-season, and then they can release him, because if not, it's going to be too big of a cap hit.
Mid-season next year?
Yeah, so he's going to be around at least for the beginning of the season next year.
Wow. Okay. And so it'll be hard. It'll be very difficult for them to try to make a move in the, like, it's so many moving pieces, like you mentioned. It's like, well, if you're not going to keep Shador, then what are you going to do? Are you going to get a quarterback in the or in the draft? If you get a quarterback in the draft, what are you going to do with Shador? Are you going to keep Dylan as a backup? What's going to happen with the
here's the thing, Ray? And again, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I've been listening to this Cleveland radio, dog. Got me hyped up. But like Fernando Mendoza, like we could have a discussion about whether Fernando Mendoza is a better quarterback than Shador Sanders. He may be a better quarterback than Shador, but if you put Fernando in the same spot next year, I think you're going to get the same results, because the team is not good enough for a rookie quarterback to come in here and change the culture.
Right. That's true. That's true. And
when Jerry Jeudy, Ray, I don't even let Jerry Jeudy stay on my man roster. When Jerry Jeudy is your number one receiver, that's a problem.
Yeah. And do they still have Nick Chubb?
No, Nick Chubb's in Houston. They got a Judkins, who's a good young running back, and they've got Harold Fannin Jr., who's a tight end out of Bowling Green, who's real nice, and him and Shador have a pretty good chemistry. I think like 80% of Shador's touchdowns have gone to Harold Fannin, just because he's been reliable for him. But it's like, yeah, the Cleveland Browns are a very dysfunctional organization.
Yes.
And it's like they started the season, Chris, with 4 quarterbacks in the room. They had Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Shador Sanders, and then Dylan Gabriel, and then the nasty man, Deshaun Watson, was also on the roster, even though they was like, nah, you stay home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the thing too. I'm not going to put much faith into the Browns front office and the Browns ownership. I'm not going to put too much faith in those folks, because they've continuously shown that they don't care much about winning. They only care about getting the stock in. And if you guys heard my rant about that team in Arlington, Texas, I think the Browns are that times 100. It's like they just want to continue to get like the subsidies and continue to get the merchandise money. And we've known how notoriously cheap they are. And I've heard stories of them reusing jock straps back in the day. It's crazy. So I just don't trust. I don't trust this ownership or the front office to make the right calls. But like you, I am cautiously optimistic that hopefully they do see a future in Shador, and that they give him some time, and that they put better pieces around him. But that faith is waning thin, especially with Kevin Stefanski as head coach.
Yeah, I mean Cleveland sports, professional sports, period, for decades have. I don't want to say cursed because they do win every once in a while, but the Cleveland sports just period is just has this kind of history. So I'm
like outside of LeBron and a few years with the Indians/Guardians, they've been terrible.
Yeah. It's just even the years with LeBron, they were like dysfunctional. You know, it's like
it wasn't until he came back, Chris, that they really turned it around, and that was because LeBron had more power then.
Yeah, and they let him leave with a little bit more dignity without the drama that happened the first time. You know,
the slave master letter.
Yeah, that was
LeBron. You owe us. We took you from nothing.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna win a championship before LeBron ever does. Like, come on, dude.
And I think LeBron won like 2 years later.
Yeah, I was like, I wasn't even a LeBron fan back then, and I was like, come the fuck on, man. Y'all are not winning anything without LeBron, and I ended up being right because when LeBron came back, they did win. You know, so. It's just a Cleveland thing, man.
Here's the other thing too, Chris, about Shador, which like if I was a Cleveland Browns fan, like they're divided. Like again, listening to too many of these damn Cleveland sports podcasts. Yeah. The Browns fan base is so divided on this because half of them love Shador, half of them hate Shador, and then the rest of them are busy fighting the people that love Shador but hate the Browns on the internet. But it's like Shador actually wants to be there. That's half the battle with a Cleveland team. Like most guys that get drafted to Cleveland teams, when they come up for free agency, they trying to get out of Cleveland, man. Right? He wants to be there though. Like,
I mean, because I've been to Cleveland several times. It's a decent city, you know. It's just not. You're not going to be noticed there, you know. It's just not somewhere where.
Isn't that what your girl Sophie Cunningham said about the WNBA expansion team, right? Who wants to go to Cleveland?
Right.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I mean, if you like Skyline Chili, you know,
Skyline Chili is good.
Yeah, that's cool.
Over some spaghetti.
Yeah, it's Paramount Kings Island I think it's in Cleveland. Or is it in Cincinnati? Cleveland.
We'll have to ask Vanessa Shark.
Yeah. So it's, you know, you go to Kings Island, you know, there's things to do there. It's just, again, it's not, you know, it's not the most happening city, you know, like if I was a athlete, Cleveland would not be at the top of my list of teams I'd want to go to. Like Cleveland and Oklahoma City, because I've been to both of them several times, and it's just those are not places for Black people. It's just they're not. Even though there are Black people there, they're just not places for them. You know, there's just it's not a city that is meant. Those are not cities that are meant for Black people to thrive for whatever reason.
That's why Vanessa Shark had to move to Vegas.
Yeah, fuck it. Shit, fucking Columbus is like a better suited for Black people than Cleveland. You know.
Damn. Shout out to Columbus, Ohio. Speaking of shout outs, though, let's go from the positive to the negative to the positive, because there were some really cool moments in 2025 in the world of sports. Of course, Chris's Dodgers winning a chip. We did a bunch of live watches for the NBA Finals where we saw the Thunder take down the Pacers. You know, Ray, we had some exciting UFC cards over the years. We recently got to see Jake Paul get his jaw knocked clean off his face. You know, we had a great WNBA season. So before, like, as we start to kind of wrap up this week's edition of the show, what were some of your favorite sports moments of 2025? And we'll start with Ray, who I'm sure is not going to mention anything involving his Washington Commanders. Oh.
I mean, well, I could mention at the start of the year when they went to the NFC Championship, that still counts. You said the year.
How'd that turn out for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's further than Dallas Cowboys got in the last 20 or something. So I'll take that. Of course, we were talking about the WNBA, so just
hold on, Ray. Speaking of Dallas, did you see your boy Jerry on TV today?
Oh Lord, what
they asked him about the season. He was like, "Well, you know, we tried really hard, and Dak played good, CD played good, but there's a lot of changes that are going to have to be made. People are going to have to be held accountable for decisions they made this year, and we'll try to move on." And I'm like, Jerry, you made the decisions. You made all the decisions, Jerry. You traded Micah. You the one that got Pickens on the team. Like, we got to figure out who needs to be held accountable because this can't happen again. Like, Jerry, it's all you.
Exactly.
The calls coming from inside the house, brother.
The lack of self-awareness is just mind-boggling, bro. Like, this dude, he never ceases to amaze me with the lack of self-awareness and with self-accountability. It's just crazy with this dude. And it's like, of course, they're going to turn around and be like, well, what about your Commanders? Well, our starting quarterback got hurt. Our starting wide receiver, who we just paid with an extension, got hurt from the bulk of the season. Our starting tight end just got his knee turned around the opposite way. Like, what? So what's your excuse? Because Dak's like Jerry said, Dak stayed healthy. CD was healthy for the most part this season. You keep saying George Pickens, he shouldn't be a number 2. He's like 1A or 1B. What's you guys' excuse? Oh, well, we didn't really need Micah Parsons anyway. We had a good defense anyway. We didn't need Micah Parsons. Come on now. What's you guys' excuse? So the continued cycle of the Dallas Cowboys going from Super Bowl contenders to pretenders is always exciting for me every year. But yeah, like I mentioned, the WNBA, just continuing to see the growth, and continuing to see just the ascension of Asia Wilson has just been phenomenal. And thank you, Asia, for helping me to get off the ground the insurmountable pick of the night. I think she helped cement it as being in the lore of Kings of Sport. It started with the with the Pacers in the finals, but I think just Asia in that finals, just coming back, willing her team and getting that go ahead bucket. I believe, what was that, game 3? Game 2 or game 3?
Yeah, it was game 3.
Yeah, she was just phenomenal, and just 4-time MVP.
Yeah,
3-time champ is just, she's phenomenal. I think to go and a little bit on the opposite side, the stuff surrounding Kathy Engelbert, your girl Kathy, Nate, and the upcoming negotiations, or negotiations, the negotiations that are underway right now between the WNBA and the Players Union. It'll be interesting to see what happens from it. I'm hearing guys on the Dan Levitard show saying that there's a possibility that, because I think he specifically said, because the players are, quote, too greedy. If the players get
David Sampson, put his name on record.
Yeah, David Sampson. If the players get too greedy, then the WNBA could fold because the players can move to another organization. And of course, and I put a comment in there. It's just like, it's always the players that are too greedy, and never the owners or the actual league that are too greedy.
Right.
But I think one kind of that is related to this, that is a bright spot is Fee putting Kathy on blast. Oh, chef's kiss. Nafisa Collier, who's one of the star players in the NBA for the Minnesota Lynx. She ended up getting hurt towards their postseason run, and they were eliminated. And as she was giving the exit interview, she pretty much left scorched earth. And not only is she one of the star players and who was my MVP this season, no shade to Asia, although Asia always deserves it every year, like Michael Jordan or like LeBron. But Fee is also the president of, vice president or president of the player, because I think NECA's the vice president, Fee's the president, or is it the other way?
Yeah,
around?
Fee's the president.
Anyway, yeah, Fee's the president. So she went scorched earth on the WNBA commissioner, Kathy Engelbert.
Fee also heads Unrivaled too, which she had some perspective into this.
Indeed, Unrivaled, which is off-season league that pretty much pays the players accordingly and also treats them well outside of the regular WNBA season. But yeah, she went scorched earth, just telling all the business, saying quotes or alleged quotes between her and Kathy, and how Kathy's saying that Caitlyn is nothing without the WNBA to put a spotlight on her, and she wouldn't earn all of this money through her endorsement deals without the WNBA, and saying how the referees, she essentially said when Nafisa saying, hey, the referees are having too much of a influence on these games, and they're not making the right calls when they should. And essentially, Kathy just said, well, get good then. Stop losing. Stop being a loser, essentially, is what Kathy said. So, yeah, it's just crazy. And then the response from Kathy was much to be desired. Said, oh, poor me. I have a family. How I get treated by the media. Oh, poor Kathy. Poor
She's
me.
got a family, by God.
Oh, Lord. So it'll be interesting to see, especially with much of the WNBA teams being head up by NBA owners as well now. It'll be interesting to see how the negotiations play out during this off season leading up to the season, and whether we get a season at all. But yeah, David Sampson talked about because the players are too greedy, it might shut down. Look, come on, man. Come on, man. Just give
the man that ruined the Florida Marlins, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
David
like
Sampson.
You said, man. Like you said, pay the players what you owe them. Pay them what you owe them.
Chris,
that's all.
What was your sporting highlight of 2025, brother?
So, I mean, it's easy to say the Dodgers winning back-to-back because I was for the longest time up until 2020, I was just resigning myself to the fact that those guys were never going to win again before 2020. I was just like, okay, this is how my life is going to be. But no, they won back to back. So I do like the 2025 win. But I gotta say, it's Jake Paul getting knocked the fuck out. It was because the thing about him is, like, when you watch like boxing and stuff, you know what a skilled boxer is, and Jake Paul had at least a faction of people thinking he was a skilled boxer. That's why I hated that Mike Tyson fight from the very beginning. Because I knew he was going to beat Mike Tyson, and he wasn't going to beat Mike Tyson because he's better than Mike Tyson. He was going to beat Mike Tyson because he's a decent enough boxer to where he's going to beat somebody that's long in tooth, that's someone that's old, that really shouldn't be doing that anymore. He's going to beat them. So, and I felt bad for the people that were like Mike Tyson's fans that thought this was going to be Mike Tyson from 1991, 1989, or even Mike Tyson from 1999 or 2000. That's not the Mike Tyson that is alive anymore. It's the current day Mike Tyson. So watching him get knocked out, watching it on my Blue Sky, because I didn't pay for the fight or watch it on Netflix or anything. I just saw the clips on Netflix, and it was just, I don't know, it was just chef's kiss, man. It was like, again, when you are a real boxer is going to beat up Jake Paul. Jake Paul's going to run the floor with Nate Robinson and, people that got no business boxing, or, these stunt boxing matches. And that's the thing too. That I really was starting to hate about combat sports is just like the purity of the competition, where it's like, these fights that mean nothing. I was one of the people that was just very, very angry at Bob Sapp for just taking all these fights that he was throwing, because people were willing to pay him $50,000. So he just kept taking fights and, just losing to people that he probably wouldn't lose to in real life just so he could collect money. And I'm not a fan of Jake Paul being a boxer, because he's not a real boxer. He's a showman. He's a social media influencer. He's got no business boxing. So watching his ass get knocked out it took till the end of the year, but I gotta give it to that. And this ain't recency bias, because I've been waiting for this for years. And
I think the part that makes it funnier to me, Chris, is Jake Paul could have got away with this scheme for at least another year or so.
Yeah,
he didn't have to fight Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, right. I don't know what but that's how ego works, Like at least with Butterbean, somebody in Butterbean's camp knew better than to ever have him fight like Evander Holyfield, right. Whatever. It was like, yo, we'll get you a video game.
Stay in your lane.
Right.
Yeah, we'll put you in a video game. We'll put you in Knockout Kings, and you'll make your money. You'll get your stuff, but you really shouldn't be fighting Lennox Lewis or Klitschko.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, I used to whoop Butterbeans. I used to beat the brakes off of Butterbeans and Knockout Kings, though.
I know, me too, man. So I just like, and it's not anything against Butterbean. I think Eric Esch is a nice guy, but he's got no business. He's not a boxer. He's the tough guy, the tough man person, Right. And there's a difference between like real fighters and these stunt people that win these kind of
did UFC kind of take over the tough man? Because tough man was a thing back in the day.
I would say so. I would say it's like because it's more of that spirit, The one thing that Dana White did with UFC that was smart from a monetary aspect is he put rules in it, because when the Gracies came up with the UFC, they liked the whole let you kick somebody in the ball, scratch them, all that. Right. That's the shit they liked.
It was on some Kumite shit.
Right. Yeah. Right. Which to be honest, I don't necessarily mind that, but that's not gonna get you commercial.
You can't sell
you
that to
know?
Wall
Right.
Street.
Right, yeah, but the thing is now though, because Dana White is such a hack and a pseudo racist that's got, maybe he's not like he's got no problem with racists, let's put it that way. That he's slowly but surely letting UFC go back to like underground shit, you know. They are not gonna stay mainstream on this trajectory because, like, contrary to what MAGA would have you believe, most people do not think like this. Most people don't want to be racist. Most people strive not to be racist, you know. So it's just like most people, just because Trump won in 2024, Trump won barely, and both he and Kamala Harris lost to the couch, and the couch is always going to benefit the Republican, you know. That's because the couch are the people that are disenfranchised, the people that feel that life has done them so bad or just don't care enough about politics or the world around them to vote. That's what that is. So I think Dana White, I think after MAGA runs its course, I don't think Dana White is long for this world unless he just does another rebrand, because I think he's pissed enough people off to where, you know, he put it this way. And Ray, since you're the expert, you could tell me if I'm right or wrong. I think he needed that CBS deal way more than CBS needed him for that deal.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
agree with you. Well, yeah, I agree with you. And I think it's funny that you mention it, because I do think that, once MAGA and all the Trump stuff goes away, because I think he was already on the cusp of kind of having one foot out the door with being the UFC president. And that's why I think he tried to diversify different things. Like, he came up with this whole power slap with the slap fighting thing. Now that's
so
the new
horrible.
tough man. Where you can't even defend yourself. You just get slapped in the face.
What the hell is this, Dana White? Power slap.
Yeah.
And also, not to bring up old stuff, Ray, but if I'm the dude that allegedly put his hands on his wife, I would not start a company called Power Slap. That's just me.
Like, and TBS still aired it after they saw that video. You know, it's like
the same week.
And the ratings weren't even good for it. You know, it's like it was the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. You know, for the Power Slap stuff. It's just, you know, the whole fight game is just not what it used to be. But yeah, seeing Anthony Joshua knock the fuck out of Jake Paul, who's also pseudo racist in my opinion too. Yes. It was gold. It was just great, and you know, I'd love seeing it again. Like, and honestly, I really do think my one regret with the Mike Tyson fight with Jake Paul, I really do think if you were gonna bite a motherfucker's ear off,
that would have been the one.
I'm just saying, man. Like, if you're gonna do some illegal stuff, I remember there was a fight that was thrown out there. It was DMX versus the bastard that killed Trayvon Martin, George Zimmer. Is that what? It was versus him, and George Zimmer was like, I'll beat DMX up, blah blah blah. And then DMX, they did an interview with him, He's like, hell yeah, I'm gonna fight that motherfucker. I'm gonna break every rule in boxing when I fight that dude. I'm a you know, he just went off on how bad he was gonna beat him. I'm gonna try to kill this dude. And George Zimmerman wanted none of that. Like, I was
feel like them old Bugs Bunny cartoons where Bugs was boxing. He put like the horseshoe in his glove.
Yeah. Like that's how I would have been if I fought Jake Paul. I wouldn't be trying to box that dude. That's why I'm not a boxer, because I would have to do some low blow tactics. I'd have to take the gloves off, and because that guy he's been problematic for so many years, and his dumbass brother too. So
yeah. But I think the Jake Paul fight, that's definitely one of my highlights of the year, Chris. Going back to February, shout out to K-Dot for one of the greatest halftime performances of all time.
Oh, awesome stuff, yeah.
With Sam Jackson and them, and Serena Williams and all them cameos. But I think if we're just strictly talking about on the field or on the court, my highlight of 2025 would probably be, I think the Dodgers is a cool one, Chris. I did like OKC and that Pacers series. That was a fun series.
Yeah, and I liked Indiana too, also making it back there.
Yeah, that was a fun series. But I think where I would go would probably be, you know what? Even though I do hate that Riyadh season was a part of it, Chris, and a part of it, Ray, I'm going to stick with the fight game. And I'm going to go Terrence Crawford, the recently retired Terrence Bud Crawford, whooping feet with Saul Canelo Alvarez. I thought that was one of the best boxing matches of the year, and boxing is a sport that I still love, even though it's kind of falling off. But I thought that was probably one of my favorite sports moments of the year.
Yeah. And real quick, I did want to mention, just to kind of put a bow on what I was mentioning before about Dana White trying to diversify and having one foot out the door. He's getting into boxing, and we mentioned that, and we kind of talked about it before, that he was helping the Crow promote that fight between Bud Crawford and Canelo. So Canelo, he's trying to sneak out and still have something to fall back on, especially with them dealing with the Muhammad Ali Reform Act, which is pretty much just going to make two different Muhammad Ali acts. It's like it's crazy what they're trying to do. They're essentially trying to make a boxing version of the UFC where they could just have control over the contracts, not have any transparency as far as with the pay, not having any regulating bodies be a part of it, have the promoter have the championship, which is the whole reason why the Muhammad Ali Act was enforced, so that all the power wasn't in the hands of the promoters. So they're still finding a way to kind of snake into different sports like boxing and like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which now they have an arm in with the UFC, UFC, BJJ. So
I mean, the thing with any sport league, though, you have to become mainstream for staying power. That's that. Or if you don't become mainstream, what happens is you become a flash in the pan. You become like roller derby or something like that. Where you have moments in history, but you are not like the thing. You have to find ways to make your league appealing to other people. I don't think Dana White knows how to do that anymore. I think whatever critical thinking skills he used to have, he lost them completely getting on this MAGA train, because it's just and I think Triple H is starting to lose them too. I think Triple H might have been a smart person back in the day, but I mean, again, Vince McMahon, he kind of knew how to navigate between politics and sports just a little bit better than other people, because he had the right-wing politics. Everyone knew that, but, that was never going to be in front of his business because you know how toxic that looks. You wouldn't see Vince McMahon on TV with any politician. That's just not something you would see from that guy. And if you did see him, it would be on the website. It would never be on screen. And I think like if that's not one lesson you learn from Vince, if you learn all the bad lessons from Vince and not the one or two smart lessons from him, I don't think I think TKO. I do see an overhaul of that whole organization in the next coming years.
Yeah,
and just to piggyback off what you're saying, the brother didn't even publicly endorse his own wife when she was running for all these Senate runs in Connecticut. And when she got the Small Business Administration during the first Trump administration, when she became the chairperson or the secretary of the Small Business Administration, he wasn't even pushing that on screen as much. So to your point, he knew when to kind of draw the line, and he was kind of finding ways to make fun of both parties too with the stuff. That
he had for all of Vince's faults. You do have to it's a laundry list, man. It's like 2 laundry lists, but you have to recognize that this guy kind of knew the business side of things better than most,
certainly better than Triple H, who's not a businessman.
Right. Yeah. Cause I have no clue why, if you're why you would put that shit on television. I still don't think he's recovered from that too. He's an easy person to boo now, I think that's you don't ever want to become that, like if fans are booing you after that Gunther Cena match and not Gunther, then you are failing. You should not be getting booed. The heat and the praise should be on Cena and on Gunther. It shouldn't be on anybody else.
Right.
I just got one question for you, Chris.
What's that?
Uh-oh.
Enjoying the show, kid?
I knew
it. And I hope the audience enjoyed the show because it was a crazy year in sports in 2025. So we're going to get out of here, man. The final edition of the Kings of Sport for this year will be back in January with another edition of the world's most dangerous sports show. We got one more thing to drop on y'all. It's a yearly tradition. But before we get to that, real quick, Ray Williams, anything you would like to promote? Anybody you want to shout out before we end this episode?
Well, first off, I want to thank all the good people who have supported us, not only today and watching us today and tuning in, but throughout the year. We were mentioning off air, Nate, that we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the Nefarious Media Network rebranding. And so it's been fun trying to try new things and just to tinker with some things and introduce other new topics or new segments or new shows and things like that. So it's been a blast to join you guys throughout this year, and hopefully there'll be more success in the future as long as we continue to work hard and have fun like we always do. Always, what's the saying? Always thoughtful, always come through with thoughtful, truthful, thoughtful, and turned up conversations. There it is.
You got there right.
Eventually. But yeah, and I love you brothers as well. I appreciate you brothers. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of this venture with you guys. As for plugs, you know me, I'm always somewhere on here on Nefarious Media, whether it be on all of our various social media platforms or whether it be on the audio front through either Patreon or Apple Podcasts or wherever you find podcasts. Should be having. I'm trying not to put it out there because I don't want to put something out there because I've done it too often. I've dangled carrots in front of you guys and then just snatched it back. But I'm hoping to have a closeout episode of the Spinning Blackfish or no Styles Break Fights podcast. I had to remind myself. So I'm hoping to have a year-end closeout episode of that, just highlighting some of the big stories that have hit throughout the year in the sport of MMA and in the combat sports sphere as a whole. So hopefully we'll have that out for you guys by the end of the year. And just continue to tune in here on YouTube, on whatever your favorite social media platform is, and wherever you listen to your podcasts.
All right. Shout out to Ray Williams. Hope you have a Merry Christmas, Ray. Anybody in the DMV, you can find Ray in your local dairy section this holiday season, getting all the eggnog. As well, he may be at a local nightclub as a licensed and professional Craig Robinson impersonator. You're
not the first one who said that. So
hey, there are worse people to look like Ray.
That is true. That's
way worse people to look like. You can wake up tomorrow and look like Cash Patel.
Oh my goodness.
Why are my eyes moving in two separate directions? Don't make no sense. But Chris, always good to catch up with you, brother. Anything you would like to let the people know on the way out besides the things that we learned this week, such as Chris got rollerblades for being on the set of Boys in the Hood, and he auditioned, he tried out for the LA Thunderbirds roller derby team, and it was like, nah, son.
No, yeah. I guess I'll tell my Dr. Umar story real quick.
Yes.
So I met Dr. Umar, want to say this was probably right when he was promoting the school. And I might have been like, because I originally was in college in Tennessee. I went to Tennessee Tech and the University of Tennessee, and then I dropped out, moved back to LA to kind of get into acting and stuff. And then I stumbled back upon Pasadena City College to, and I wasn't, even when I went to Pasadena City College, full disclosure, I wasn't there to go back to school per se. I was trying to get financial aid to pay for miscellaneous shit in LA because it was so expensive. And I've stumbled on PCC, and then I ended up liking the place and, finishing there and then going to Dominguez and other places. But I met Umar. He came to the school and he was talking about all this Hotep stuff. And my critical thinking skills weren't great back then. In the 2000s, in the teens, they started developing, but he was asking for money for his school, and I gave him $20, and that was $20 I really couldn't afford to give, but I gave it to him because he was collecting it. And
supporting the cause, brother.
Yeah. And then he goes on to these tirades, but he spoke to the edge just enough to where it wasn't one of those situations where he was never going to be invited back again,
Right.
Whereas there was another guy who came to the college. I don't even know. I won't say his name. I'll say his name off air. People might pick up on who it is, but I'll let them pick up on who it is. If you know who it is, I'll confirm it later. But he comes to the college and he goes on this tirade of you don't need college. And he has the doctor title, mind you. College is a waste of time. Black people, what we need is economic stability. We need financial growth. We need reparations. If a politician isn't going to give us reparations, don't vote and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And these like administrators at the school, like the deans and shit that were listening to this motherfucker, like, who did we let come here to speak? And they put him on the ban list to never come back to the school again. So that was that story. Like Umar, I don't know if they banned him, but I think they probably ended up banning him because I think eventually his words just got crazier and crazier. Because he was like body shaming like Lizzo and stuff like that. So like he's not going to be allowed in those academic settings doing that kind of thing. But yeah, so that was my Umar story, and then the other story with the other Hotep practitioner. So
see, in my mind, Ray, I'm imagining Dr. Umar walking up to a young Chris Ely, like Nick Fury showed up at the end of Iron Man. Like, brother, you're not part of a larger universe. If you want to join us, I need $20. If not, 15 lashes, brother.
Yeah, like and back then he was a lot. Yeah, he was a lot. Yeah, he was a lot more like almost pious. He was a lot more like friendly when he asked for the money back then. It wasn't like the stuff he's doing now. You know, he was. It really kind of like, you know, he's a good like. If you are a young person and you're listening to somebody and they're a good speaker, even if what they're not saying, if what they're saying doesn't make a lot of sense, what young people usually listen to is the cadence in the way people talk and the confidence in the way people talk. And that if the world isn't doing right by you, you're looking for somebody that's going to blame other outside factors on why your life isn't great at that moment. And I think that's what Dr. Umar was and is for a lot of those people. But, you know, that's kind of like vocal junk food, you know, what you get from these people. Because it's, you know, junk food is fun to eat, you know, that's why people eat junk food. But, you know, you eat too much of that shit, you know, it's like, it's not going to do right by you, you know? So yeah, that's that. So that's not Umar. And, you know, as for promoting, you can, catch us on, Kings of Sport. You catch us on NWA podcast. I'm going to be on the Navigating podcast with Anita Casalina tomorrow. I taped that episode in San Francisco a couple weeks ago, like probably about a month ago now. And it's going to air on her YouTube channel tomorrow. So check that out. I have an article out today on the Trump's EEOC making cases. If you are a discriminated against white guy, if the world has done wrong by you, you could call the EEOC and you might have a case. And if you listen to her on this commercial, the only thing that was missing from it was Sarah McLachlan singing "In the Arms of an Angel," you know, because it was like, come on, dude. I write a whole article about why this is dumb fuckery, you know. And you know, there's probably going to be a chapter in my book called "Dumb Fuckery" because there's so much of it. and especially 2025 gave us a lot, and I don't even think we've seen the end of it with only like a little less than 2 weeks left in it, so anyway, just catch me in all those places, man. Just continue to support. We are I 2026. I do, now that I have the AEW media contact, I do expect us to be at the scrums and on the calls a little bit more than we have been. Actually make it to the question part of the scrum, like especially if we're sitting on hold. I do believe that's going to happen this year. Now that I got the contact, and I did get a postmark, guys, that was saying why aren't you going to do WWE scrums? Look, man, we will do. We will, if WWE will have us at their scrums, we will do WWE scrums. I don't think if any of our journalists or correspondents or whatever you want to call us, I don't think we will be there to play the placating game that Triple H wants us to play, assuming that he still even does those things, But where the wrestling media period, we don't exist to be friends with athletes. We exist to cover them, and we exist to tell truth. That doesn't mean we can't be friends with these people, but the media exists to tell us the truth. There's a whole spiel I want to do on MVP, and MVP is someone I like, but I don't think he understands the way media dynamics work. So maybe when we come back in the new year, I could do a whole segment on that, because MVP said some stuff that wasn't super bad. It was just a little disturbing to me. So we'll talk about that in January. So that's one of our hooks for 2026.
That's an end credit scene, much like Dr. Umar showing up, inviting Chris to join the Hotep Initiative. There's an idea I had, brother. It's called the Hotep Initiative.
Do you ever see that videotape where he's like opening up these envelopes? He's saying gifts, donations, and then this one lady gave him a check for $10, and he goes, "Yeah, this is a good check. Next time, make it 20. But I understand you might not be doing great right now." And he says, "Next time, make it 20. Like, how about next time I make it 0? Shoot,
right.
Seriously, man. Like, when you're in the game, because I'm learning this on Substack now. Any little dollar that someone gives you is helping you grow what you're putting out there. Just like with our Patreon, all those dollars, they combine to help us be able to do what we do and not have to worry about, I'm going to take this day off of the shoot job, or I'm going to have to do this other stuff, and they build a team of people where I can't be in Chicago, but Gerard could be in Chicago, so maybe he could cover AEW, or I'm not going to be in the DMV, but maybe Ray can cover this, or maybe Nate, or maybe I can, whoever is around. And that's kind of like the thing I dream of, and I think all of us want this network to be, just being able to have a network of people we can rely on. Make friends with other media people too, be able to I know of Sean Ross Sapp. I think he knows of me too, but I don't communicate with him regularly. Chris Van Vliet, when I had brain surgery, he sent me a message and I appreciated that. But me and Chris Van Vliet don't talk on a regular basis. Or me and Dave Meltzer, I've met him several times. We don't talk on a regular basis. So hopefully in 2026, we could just grow those networks. So man. So just keep supporting what we do.
And as Chris mentioned, we are looking for gifts, donations. In this season of giving, if you enjoy the work that we put in all year and the work that we're going to continue to put in, check out the patreon.com/Nefarious Media Network, where $3, not $5, not $10, but $3 can get you in the door for over 300 hours of audio and video content from the Nefarious Media Network team. We have one show left this year. Next Monday will be the final parlay of 2025. We've got a lot of people on the guest list. Some like Brittany Monet and Jennifer Smith, and possibly the return of Steve Willie. And then another guest that you know, but you haven't heard from in about a year, maybe even a year to the date, if that gives you a clue about who our special guest for next week might be. That was another clue. So until then, we're going to call it a show. Shout out to everybody that's been rocking with the Kings of Sport this year and every year since 2013. We appreciate it. And we'll be back next year with the most dangerous sports show in the game, the Kings of Sport podcast. But until then, Ray Williams, we have one thing left to do. It's a yearly tradition here at the Kings of Sport this time of year. We got to leave the last word to a good brother named Linus Van Pelt, who's going to tell us the real reason for the season. So as we leave the microphone to Linus, for Ray, for Chris, and for everybody here at the Nefarious Media Network, I am the Godfather, Nate Milton. Have a safe and happy holiday season. We'll see y'all in 2K26 because you've been down with the Kings. Take it away, Linus.
Everything I do turns into a disaster. I guess I really don't know what Christmas is all about. Isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about?
Sure, Charlie Brown. I can tell you what Christmas is all about. Lights, please. And there were in the same country shepherds, abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them. And the glory of the Lord shone round about them. And they were sore afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not. For behold, I bring you tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. You shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host praising God, and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men. That's what Christmas is all about, Charlie Brown.